The office lights hummed like they always do after 8 p. M. That low electric whisper that reminds you how long you've been sitting there. The glow from my monitor painted the room a cold blue. I could see my reflection in the screen. Tired eyes, coffee cup half empty, lipstick long gone. Just me. The hum. And the code. That project had my fingerprints all over it. Every line, every late-night fix, every weekend I traded for deadlines. The Brooks framework. That's what my teammates used to call it. Jokingly. And maybe that's why I smiled when I saw the final build folder open on my screen. Until Sevens. My smile froze. The document title didn't say Janelle Brooks Lead. Sevens. It said Project Lead. Andrew Myers. Sevens. At first, I thought maybe it was a mistake. You know that half second your heart denies what your eyes see? I scrolled down, fast, fingers trembling. No initials. No notes. No trace of me anywhere. The hum of the air conditioner suddenly sounded louder, like it was mocking me. I could feel my pulse in my ears. Clicked through the timeline folder. Every file I'd uploaded, rewritten under someone else's name. Soft exhale. Sevens. Okay, I whispered to myself, but my voice cracked. Don't cry here. Sevens. I looked around the empty office. The reflection of the city lights danced across the glass walls, bright, indifferent. Somewhere down the hall, a cleaning cart squeaked. The smell of burnt coffee drifted in. Everything felt sterile, unfeeling. Inside, though, I was on fire. A heat that started low in my stomach and climbed all the way up to my throat. It wasn't just anger. It was betrayal wearing a business suit. I opened the project log again. Every commit line, every timestamp, the proof of my work. Gone. Hours. Weeks. Months. Erased. My hands hovered over the keyboard. I could still feel the faint warmth from typing too long. Skin against plastic keys, pulse quickening. Then I whispered, not to anyone, just to the air. Sevens. They really did it. Sevens. It came out half breath, half disbelief. I leaned back, let my chair creak, and stared up at the ceiling. A small crack ran through one of the fluorescent lights, flickering, just slightly. For some reason, that flicker hit me hard. Because that was me. Working, shining, flickering, and ignored until I burned out. My phone buzzed. A Slack notification. Congrats to the team on an amazing launch. Couldn't have done it without Andrew. Sevens. I swear, I could taste the bitterness in my mouth. Metallic. Like anger had a flavor. I opened my own messages. Typed 3 words. Deleted them. Typed again. Deleted again. I wanted to scream. To call someone. To say something. But all I did was sit there, fingers trembling over the keyboard, whispering, Sevens, don't give them the reaction they want. Sevens, not tonight. Sevens. The office clock ticked loud now. I never noticed how loud it was. Each click felt like a taunt, a reminder that the world keeps moving, even when yours stops. So I sat there, staring at the project that used to be mine. My name erased, my effort stolen, my dignity hanging by a thread. But under the ache, something else started to rise. A stillness, a clarity. That quiet space before the storm. I closed my eyes. In the darkness behind my eyelids, I could still see lines of code, mine, running perfectly. They could steal credit, but they couldn't rewrite truth. Not really. When I opened my eyes again, the city skyline stared back, reflections of skyscraper lights flickering across the glass. I reached for my phone. Hit record. Sevens. The red dot glowed in the screen's corner, and for the first time that night, I smiled. A quiet, dangerous smile. Because if they thought they'd erased me, sevens, they were about to learn what happens when you try to delete a woman who built everything from scratch. Sevens, would you walk away or fight back? Tell me in the comments. The next morning, the office was too bright. That kind of artificial brightness that doesn't wake you up. It just exposes you. Fluorescent light bounced off every whiteboard, every chrome surface. It made the air feel thinner. The conference room smelled like burnt coffee and expensive anxiety. 10 people around the table, laptops open like armor. Andrew sat at the head, crisp suit, fake modest smile. And me, Janelle Brooks, 2 seats down, notebook open, pen resting on the margin. I didn't write a thing. I just listened. The projector flickered to life. A slide appeared. Our AI implementation success story. My slide. My formatting. My font choices. The same color palette I spent nights perfecting. So, as you all know, Andrew began, our adaptive framework delivered a 32% increase in processing efficiency. It was a tough build, a lot of late nights, but we pulled through. Vince, pulled through? You pulled from me. He turned to face the group, one hand in a confident gesture, palm up. That move he always does when he's pretending to include everyone. Janelle helped with some of the early testing, he added casually. And just like that, months of my leadership shrunk to helped with some testing. Sevens. A few heads nodded politely. Someone sipped their latte. The only sound louder than my heartbeat was the scratching of pens taking notes. Whispered, barely audible. Sevens. Stay calm, girl. Don't give him the headline. Sevens. My smile didn't move, but my jaw tightened. That kind of tension you feel right behind your ears. Pressure, not pain. Andrew clicked to the next slide. A chart filled the screen. The code snippet highlighted at the bottom. Mine. I knew that indentation style. Those variable names. No one else in this room writes like that. I leaned forward just a little, enough to see his reflection in the glass wall. He was watching the VP's reaction more than the data. Every nod she gave was another brick in his fake empire. I wanted to laugh. Because there it was, the performance. He wasn't leading. He was selling my story with his face on the cover. The VP smiled. Andrew, impressive work. You've raised the bar for this department. Sevens. The room hummed with agreement. And for a moment, it felt like gravity shifted, like every molecule of pride I had was being pulled out of me. But then something inside clicked. Not anger. Not yet. Something sharper. Clarity. I noticed her pen. The VP's. She was taking notes in shorthand. Her eyebrows moved when Andrew spoke about our dynamic algorithm. Sevens. She didn't believe him fully. That was my opening. I wrote one small note in my pad. Sevens, control the silence. Silence is power. And when you master silence, people start to fill it with their own guilt. The room quieted as Andrew rambled through the final metrics. I could hear the hum of the AC again, the faint buzz of fluorescent lights, even the sound of a chair creaking as someone shifted. Time slowed. Then, sevens. The VP looked up. Andrew, could you explain how your framework handled the adaptive variable drift? He froze. Just a microsecond. But I saw it. That twitch at the corner of his mouth. Confusion masked as composure. Sure, he said. Well, the system self-corrects through the embedded layers that Janelle originally, sevens. He glanced at me. A mistake. The kind you can't undo. I raised my eyes, met his, calm, collected. Go ahead, Andrew. Explain it. I said softly. The room turned toward me. Every head. Every pair of eyes. The kind of attention he thought belonged to him. Andrew chuckled, that nervous kind of laugh that sounds like breaking glass. Well, Janelle could probably elaborate more since she... Sevens. Since I designed it, I said. No smile, no tremor. Just fact. The air went still. You could hear a pen drop. Literally. Someone's pen hit the table and rolled. The reflection of light off the glass wall flashed across his face, like a spotlight he didn't want. The VP leaned back. Interesting, she said. Let's schedule a follow-up with both of you. I'd love to understand the process in detail. Sevens. Andrew nodded quickly. Too quickly. Of course. Yes. Team effort. Sevens. Team effort. My ass. As the meeting wrapped, laptops snapped shut, one after another. The chorus of polite goodbyes filled the room. Andrew avoided my eyes. He reached for his coffee cup, but his hand shook just enough for me to notice. I gathered my notebook slowly, smoothed the corner. My reflection stared back at me from the black screen of my laptop, not angry, not broken, just steady. Whispered, almost smiling, Sevens, you showed your crack, Andrew. Sevens, outside. The hallway light caught on the glass wall, scattering little shards of brightness across the carpet. People moved past, chatting, laughing, typing as if nothing seismic had shifted. But something had. I walked back to my desk, every step measured. Sat down, opened a new folder. Title, Evidence. Then, quietly. And clicked record. The office at night is a different creature. By day, it pretends to be alive, all buzz and chatter, the sound of ambition. But after 7, it exhales. You can hear the bones of the building. Fluorescent lights hum low, reflections stretch across empty glass walls. Every monitor left on becomes a small island of light. That's when I come alive. That's when I start to build my truth back. The carpet still holds the warmth of the day. Someone's perfume lingers near the printer. A forgotten coffee cup sits like a relic on the counter, a ring of dried ambition. I slide my badge against the reader. The door clicks open. My heels echo too loud on the floor, so I take them off. Barefoot, quiet, deliberate. Each step measured, like punctuation marks in a sentence I'm about to finish. My workstation glows in blue. Lines of code blink to life, rows of logic, syntax, my language, the one no one can take from me. I whisper, "You forgot who wrote the bones of this thing, Andrew." Sevens. I type slow at first. Every keystroke deliberate. Tap, pause, breathe. The sound becomes a rhythm, like soft percussion in a late-night jazz track. The hum of the computer blends with the air conditioner, forming a pulse, the pulse of control. Folders unfold on the screen like petals opening. AI Framework Main, Version History, Shadow Log. I named it that. Shadow Log. No one ever asked why. No one ever found it. Inside. Every line of code I wrote, time-stamped, annotated, preserved. Every commit he deleted, archived twice under my signature. The evidence has been sleeping quietly, waiting for its cue. Patience is a muscle, baby. And mine's been training. Sevens. I scroll slowly, scanning through the architecture, loops, arrays, encrypted tokens. Each function feels like a heartbeat I left behind. There's comfort in it. Power, too. I open a new script. Truth, reveal, V1, pi. The cursor blinks like a heartbeat. 1, 2, 3. Then I begin. Import os. Import shootle. No one ever suspects the quietest lines. The plan isn't loud. It doesn't need to be. My reveal will hide where no one looks, inside the code itself, in the comments, in the skeleton that holds this product together. Invisible, but undeniable once it's seen. I weave it carefully. A breadcrumb trail through the architecture. Every few lines, a small embedded signature. Sevens, created by J. Brooks, 0412. Harmless, subtle, but traceable in every server mirror, every backup log. Keep it elegant. Keep it quiet. Hours pass. I don't even notice the time until I see the faint light of dawn brushing against the blinds. The office feels suspended between worlds, night holding on, morning trying to push through. The monitor glows against my skin. I run the final check. No errors. No alerts. Perfect silence. I sit back and smile. There it is. My truth, hidden inside the system they thought they controlled. Tomorrow, when Andrew stands in front of everyone and runs his demo, he'll show the world exactly what I built. And my name will be right there, pulsing quietly in every corner of his masterpiece. Justice doesn't always scream. Sometimes it hums. Morning light cuts through the blinds in pale gold lines, slicing across the desks like a barcode of routine. The office smells like burnt espresso and ambition reheated. Same chatter, same footsteps, same recycled optimism. But to me, everything feels different now. Every monitor that flickers to life is part of my design. Every login prompt, every line of code they type, it all whispers my name. And none of them even know it. Andrew walks in late, as usual. Starched shirt, watch gleaming, a little too much cologne. He greets the team with that soft, polished voice he uses when he wants to sound human. People laugh, smile, pretend. They don't see the edges underneath. But I do. He stops by my desk, leans on the divider like we're partners in this thing. "Morning, Janelle," he says, too casually. His smile is sharp, all teeth, no warmth. I nod back, keep my face unreadable. "Morning." He lingers for a second too long, scanning my screens, pretending not to. But I can feel his curiosity. He's wondering if I'm still angry. He's wondering what I might do. He has no idea I already did it. My fingers hover over the keyboard. I type something small, nothing that matters. Just motion. To him, I look busy, but inside, I'm counting down. The hum of machines fills the silence between us. Someone's laughter bursts from across the room, then fades just as quickly. A pen drops, rolls, stops against a chair leg. Everything feels heightened, every sound sharper than it should be, like the air itself knows what's coming. When he finally walks away, I watch his reflection in the glass wall. He's talking to the VP near the window, gesturing toward the presentation board. His shoulders are squared. That fake confidence, the kind you can smell from across the room. He's rehearsing his lines already. He doesn't realize the story he's about to tell isn't his anymore. Around me, people move like clockwork, screens flashing, keyboards clattering, coffee being poured. Every action so normal, so human, that it almost makes me forget what's hidden beneath the surface. Almost. My eyes flick to the shared drive. The new file syncs automatically. Truth, reveal V1. Pi embedded deep inside the framework, silent, invisible. I check the logs. No alerts, no errors. Perfect. Stay still, girl, I whisper. Let them build your stage. Vince, the day stretches out, hour by hour. Emails flow, meetings blur. Andrew's name keeps showing up in threads. Congratulations, appreciation, applause. Each one feels like a slow drumbeat, counting towards something inevitable. At lunch, I sit alone near the window. The sun reflects off the skyscrapers outside, bouncing shards of light into the glass walls. From here, I can see everyone, tiny reflections, fragments of faces layered over my own. It's like watching a play from backstage. Every movement rehearsed, every expression predictable. Andrew laughs at something the VP says. He throws his head back just enough to show off that confidence he practices in mirrors. My chest tightens, not from anger anymore, but from anticipation. Because I know what's hidden in his masterpiece. Every line of my code, every signature tucked inside, ready to surface. The thought of it sends a quiet thrill through me. Not revenge exactly, something cleaner. Justice rewritten in syntax and silence. Later in the afternoon, he calls for a full team check. The final review before tomorrow's big presentation. The room fills with movement, chairs sliding, laptops opening, screens flickering alive. The air hums with that nervous excitement people get when they think they're close to success. I take my seat at the corner of the table, notebook in hand. Andrew stands at the front, laser pointer ready, posture practiced. The slide deck opens with the company logo, bright, proud, false. He starts talking. Smooth, charismatic. It's a performance, and he's enjoying the spotlight. Every sentence he says is built on the bones of my work. And I let him have it. For now, I glance at the reflections in the glass wall, small faces watching, nodding, taking notes. One person frowns slightly, another whispers something behind a hand. Tiny cracks. Small tells. The air shifts. When Andrew clicks to the next slide, the system lags. Just for a second. A small stutter. Almost nothing. He doesn't notice, but I do. That's the framework loading my hidden script. It's not revealing anything yet, just setting the hooks, syncing the logs. I breathe slow, steady. Control is a quiet thing. You don't grab it. You let it settle on you, like gravity. He keeps talking, waving his hand, repeating buzzwords he barely understands. Adaptive, scalable, dynamic innovation. Sevens. The team nods. The VP smiles. And I smile too. Small, private, invisible. Keep talking, Andrew, I murmur. Every word's a countdown. When the meeting ends, applause breaks out. He soaks it in, the praise, the handshakes, the nods. Everyone files out slowly, voices low with excitement. Tomorrow, the board presentation will go live. Tomorrow, the truth will surface. As I pack my bag, I catch my reflection again, faint light across glass, face calm, eyes steady. It's strange how peace feels just like tension when you're this close to the edge. I turn off my screen. The monitor fades to black. In that dark reflection, I whisper, Sevens. Let the code speak. Sevens. Then I walk out. The hum of the office fades behind me. Somewhere deep in the server, my name waits. Patient, electric, alive. Be honest. What would you do if it was you sitting in that room? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear you. The night before the presentation feels too quiet. The kind of quiet that hums beneath your skin. Outside, the city glows, office towers lit like constellations, windows flickering with other people's deadlines. Inside, it's just me. The office lights have gone to half power. A low golden haze pools across the carpet, spilling against the glass walls like liquid. Computer screens pulse in the dark, blue and breathing. Every sound is magnified. The whir of the HVAC, the distant elevator ding, the soft crackle of the building settling into night. I sit at my desk, shoulders loose, heartbeat steady. The cursor blinks on screen, waiting for my final move. Everything is ready. Every loop, every timestamp, every breadcrumb of truth perfectly nested inside the code. All I have to do is press deploy. But I wait. Waiting is part of the ritual. It's the silence before the music drops, the stillness before the first domino tips. Power isn't in what you do. It's in knowing exactly when to do it. I sip cold coffee, bitter as memory. The taste reminds me of all those late nights, the ones that built this moment. The hum of the monitor casts a faint reflection of my face, eyes sharp, calm, a smile that almost doesn't exist. I whisper, tomorrow, they'll see. Sevens. My fingers hover over the keyboard, not trembling, just poised. The cursor flashes once more, like it's holding its breath with me. I type the final sequence. Small lines, simple logic, invisible to anyone who doesn't know where to look. Then I run it, a single command that slides through the system like a whisper through glass. No noise, no alert, just truth, quietly taking its place. For a second, I can almost hear it, that digital pulse syncing with mine. The servers respond with their low electric hum, like the building itself is alive. I check the logs again. No errors, no flags, perfect silence. I close my eyes and picture tomorrow. The boardroom glowing with bright morning light. The smell of fresh coffee and new confidence. Andrew standing at the front, hands moving as he sells the story he thinks is his. The VP nodding. The team smiling. And then, that one moment when the screen flickers and the truth begins to bleed through. My name, woven inside his lies. I can see it so clearly I almost feel the warmth of the projector light on my face. Not revenge, Not anger. Just alignment. The world finally catching up to the truth that's been sitting quietly in the shadows. I glance at the clock. 11:37 p.m. The numbers glow faintly against the glass. I still have time to clean up. Just small things, small traces. I delete a temp file, rearrange a folder, minimize the window. Nothing rushed. Nothing sloppy. Precision is power. I stretch my fingers, then rest them lightly against the desk, feeling the faint vibration of the servers through the floor. It feels like a heartbeat. Alive. Waiting. I whisper, let it breathe. 7s. I stand, roll my shoulders, and look out over the city through the glass. The skyline shimmers, all chrome and midnight. Cars snake along the freeway, their lights forming rivers of movement. Down below, I can see my reflection, faint, layered over the city like a double exposure. Me and the world I'm about to rewrite. There's peace in it. No more racing pulse, no more clenched jaw, just stillness. I grab my bag, slide my laptop in, and power off the monitor. The light fades, leaving the faint outline of my reflection behind, eyes steady, posture tall. Tomorrow, the truth won't need me to speak. It'll speak for itself, in lines of code and proof embedded deep where lies can't reach. And when Andrew clicks run presentation, he'll light the fuse himself. I turn to leave. The air smells like metal and caffeine and quiet victory. The hum of the servers follows me to the door, a low, electric heartbeat saying, "We're ready." I swipe my badge one last time. The lock clicks open. As I step into the hallway, I whisper, 7s. It's time to let the system tell the story. 7s. Then I walk away. Down the corridor, into the dim light, leaving only the faint glow of screens. 7s, and a truth waiting to be born. You won't believe what happens next. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. 7s. Morning comes too fast. The city hums outside my window, glass towers catching sunlight like mirrors. I dress slow, dark blazer, white shirt, small gold earrings. Professional, controlled, unreadable. On the train, I watch the reflection of the skyline slide past in the window. It's strange. I feel lighter, not heavier. When you stop carrying a lie, your body remembers what peace feels like. By the time I reach the office, the air already smells like tension, roasted coffee and fresh printer ink. Everyone's buzzing. The big presentation day. The one that's supposed to make Andrew the company's next rising star. The conference room looks different today. Brighter, larger, like it's waiting for something monumental. Glass walls, screens everywhere, sunlight bouncing off the polished table. Every reflection sharp, every sound too crisp. People file in. Department heads, HR, the VP, even the CEO. Their voices mix in soft tones of curiosity and caffeine. Laptops open. Pens click. The projector hums to life. I take my usual seat near the corner. Not hiding, just watching. Observing is its own kind of power. Andrew walks in, smile rehearsed. Posture perfect. He's wearing confidence like cologne. You can almost smell the performance. "Morning, everyone," he says, setting his laptop down. His voice has that warm polish, the tone that sells ideas before they even make sense. The CEO nods. "We're excited to see what you've built." 7s, what you've built. The irony tastes sweet. He connects the HDMI cable. The big screen flickers to life. The company logo flashes, then fades into the title slide. Adaptive Framework, Revolutionizing Performance. My code sits underneath, humming quietly, invisible but alive. He starts talking, smooth, steady, his favorite rhythm. He points, gestures, cells. Every slide a layer of my work, every word a copy of my vision. I breathe slow, steady. My heartbeat keeps time with the click of his remote. Each transition brings us closer. The CEO leans forward, eyes bright. The VP takes notes, nodding. The team watches like a crowd at a magic show, waiting for the next reveal. And then, it begins. On slide 32, the screen stutters. Just a fraction of a second. A flicker. Andrew doesn't notice. He's mid-sentence. But I do. The room stills. The projector hums, louder than before. A new line of text fades onto the bottom of the slide, like a watermark blooming out of nowhere. Developed and engineered by Janelle Brooks. Version control authenticated. Silence. No one moves. For half a heartbeat, it feels like the air itself stops. Then the whispering starts. Wait, what? Sevens? Did that say? Sevens. Who's Janelle Brooks? Sevens. Andrew freezes. His hand still raised toward the screen. He stares, blinking, trying to process what just happened. A flicker crosses his face. Confusion first, then panic, then denial. That must be a bug, he stammers. He clicks again. The next slide appears. The same message, now embedded in the corner of every visual. Each chart, each code snippet, each diagram carries it. Developed and engineered by Janelle Brooks. He tries to keep talking, voice trembling. Looks like some sort of test watermark. Maybe a... Sevens. The CEO interrupts. Andrew, why does her name appear on your code? Sevens. You could hear the sound of his throat tightening. His eyes dart to me, then away. He laughs weakly. I think Janelle worked on an early prototype. Some old metadata must have... Sevens. Metadata doesn't replicate through 30 slides. The VP cuts in. Her tone sharp. Surgical. She's looking at me now. Directly. I meet her eyes. Calm. Actually, I say softly, the metadata is correct. Sevens. A hush spreads through the room. Every face turns toward me. Shock, curiosity, disbelief. Even the sound of the AC seems to fade. Andrew's voice cracks. That's ridiculous. Sevens, I speak before he can finish. The adaptive framework, the neural correction layer, the feedback architecture, all built by me. Every line of code is time-stamped, verified, and archived under my credentials. Sevens. I pause, just long enough for it to sink in. And the system you're presenting today automatically verifies authorship through its internal checksum logs. Sevens. I don't raise my voice. I don't need to. Truth doesn't shout. It resonates. Andrew swallows hard, his face pale now, sheen of sweat above his lip. He tries to smile, but it's trembling. He clicks again, desperate, and the next slide opens to a live demo screen. The system loads. And there it is, in bright, clean letters across the interface. Sevens. Primary developer. Janelle Brooks. Date of origin. February 2nd, 2024. Auth verification. Passed. The CEO leans back, silent. The VP looks at Andrew, then at me. Someone exhales sharply, the sound breaking the silence like glass. Andrew mutters something, a half-formed excuse, then stops himself. The truth is too complete, too precise, too undeniable. I let the silence linger. Let it do the work for me. He finally speaks, voice small. Janelle, I thought we were collaborating. Sevens. I smile, just barely. Collaboration requires credit. Sevens. The CEO clears his throat. Janelle, I'd like to see your records after this meeting. Sevens. Of course, I reply. I can feel eyes on me. Respect from some, guilt from others, admiration, confusion. It's all a blur of human noise, and beneath it, a single thread of calm running through me. I built this moment, piece by piece. The presentation ends not with applause, but with silence. A heavy, charged silence. The kind that follows when everyone in the room realizes what they've just witnessed. Andrew's laptop stays open on the table, the code window frozen mid-frame. My name glows on screen, faint but unyielding. I stand slowly, gathering my notebook. The light from the projector catches my face, warm, almost golden. I glance at the reflection in the glass wall, dozens of faces. One truth? I whisper to myself, Sevens, let the truth breathe. Sevens, as I walk out, no one stops me. No one can. Behind me, the murmurs rise, fragments of disbelief and awe. The CEO's voice low, firm. Schedule a full review. And get me the original author. Sevens. The glass door closes behind me with a soft click. Outside, the hallway feels brighter. My heels echo steady on the polished floor. For the first time in months, every step feels like mine. Not borrowed. Not erased. Mine. And somewhere behind me, in that room of reflections and flickering screens, Sevens. My name keeps glowing. Sevens. Quiet, relentless, alive. When I walked out of that glass room, the world felt both heavier and lighter at once. Heavier because the truth had weight, and lighter because I'd finally stopped carrying the lie. The hallway was too bright. Fluorescent light bounced off the marble floors, so polished I could see my reflection moving over the cracks like I was walking on glass. Somewhere behind me, the meeting room door clicked shut. That soft sound, just a latch catching, felt louder than the applause I never got. The air in the hallway tasted like metal and silence. No one said a word as I passed their desks. Keyboard slowed. Eyes lifted, then dropped. It was the kind of quiet that lives between shock and admiration, when people don't know whether to congratulate you or stay far away. At my desk, my monitor still glowed with the same open code window from the night before. 5,000 lines of my own truth, staring back at me like an old friend who'd waited too long to be seen. I sat down slowly. My hands were steady now. No tremor, no adrenaline, just breath. Long, full, quiet. Then came the first ping. An email. Then another. Then 10. Subject lines like whispers. Sevens. Can we talk? Sevens. That was wild. Sevens. Proud of you? Sevens. I scrolled. A message from Marcus in IT, the same guy who once told me, "You're too quiet to get noticed here." Sevens. Now he wrote. Sevens. You did what we all wanted to do but never had the nerve. Respect. Sevens. Another one from Nyla, the intern I'd mentored. 7s. You showed me what own your work really means. 7s. And then, from an anonymous account, short and sharp. 7s. You ruined a man's career for clout. 7s. I stared at that one longer than I meant to. Not because it hurt, but because it revealed something truer than I wanted to admit. 7s. Even when you tell the truth, somebody's always going to call it revenge. By noon, HR sent the official notice. 7s. An internal review has been initiated. Please prepare documentation of your contribution. I smiled to myself. Documentation. I had timestamps, version histories, repository access logs, truth written in code and checksum. The kind of proof no opinion could erase. Still, I printed everything. Every commit. Every line. The sound of the printer filled my cubicle like rain, rhythmic, grounding, a small reminder that some things still move in order. That afternoon, the CEO's assistant appeared at my desk. Ms. Brooks, he'd like to see you. 7s. Her tone was polite, but her eyes avoided mine. The office knew. They just didn't know how to act yet. I followed her down the hall. The executive floor always smelled different. More expensive coffee, cleaner air, softer lighting. Even the silence was richer up there. The CEO's office had one of those panoramic windows that made the city look small. He didn't stand when I entered, just gestured toward a chair. "Janelle," he began, voice calm but careful. "I want to understand what happened today." 7s, I nodded. "I think you already do." He leaned back. "Why didn't you come to me sooner?" 7s. I met his eyes. "Because I've been talking for months. No one was listening." 7s. He exhaled slowly, then looked out the window. "Andrew's been placed on administrative leave. We're auditing the project." 7s. His tone softened. "I'll be honest. What you did could have gone very differently." 7s. I smiled faintly. "I know." 7s. He turned back to me. "Still, what you built, it's impressive. We're creating a new transparency policy, starting with authorship recognition. You'll lead it, if you want." 7s. I let that sit. Not victory, responsibility. And it felt right. "Thank you," I said. Not for the title, for the space. 7s. He nodded, just once. "Make sure the next Janelle doesn't have to fight this hard." 7s. When I left his office, the light in the hallway had changed. Golden now, softer, like the day itself was exhaling. I walked back toward my floor, the hum of the air vents sounding like applause from a distant world. People watched as I passed, not with judgment this time, but curiosity. Something had shifted. At the elevator, I heard footsteps behind me. Janelle.
7s.
It was Andrew. He looked smaller somehow, like the light had pulled the sharpness out of him. He held a paper cup of coffee, untouched. "I didn't mean for it to go this far," he said quietly. "I just got lost in the pressure." 7s. I studied him for a moment. "I believe you," I said. He blinked, surprised. "But belief doesn't erase consequence," I added. "Silence has a cost. You just paid yours." 7s. He nodded slowly, eyes glassy. Then he walked away, the sound of his footsteps fading like the last lines of a bad script. The following week felt unreal. emails, interviews, HR memos. My name suddenly existed in rooms it had never been in before. A company-wide message appeared one morning. Effective immediately. The Authorship Recognition Initiative will ensure all contributions are transparently recorded and attributed. Program led by Janelle Brooks. Sevens. Replies flooded in, the kind you can feel even without reading. Sevens. Respect, gratitude, inspiration, and a quiet shift in the culture. People I barely knew stopped me in the hallway. You made us proud. Sevens. You gave us language for what we've been feeling. Sevens. One night, I got a message from a woman in another state, a software engineer at a tech firm in Atlanta. They took my work once too. I didn't fight. But after seeing your story, I will. Sevens. I sat there staring at the screen, my throat tight. That's when I realized this wasn't about code anymore. It was about visibility. Late Friday evening, I stayed behind after everyone had gone. The office was empty, the city beyond the glass glittering like a map of possibility. The hum of computers filled the space like quiet music. I reopened my codebase, the one that started all this. The cursor blinked at the end of a line. Waiting. I typed a single comment at the bottom. Sevens. Every truth deserves to live in the code. Then I saved it, leaned back, and let the silence settle. The reflection in my monitor showed a woman calm, grounded, no longer asking to be seen, just being. I whispered to myself, Sevens, let them remember me by the work, not the fight. Sevens. The city lights danced on the glass walls, and for the first time in a long while, Sevens, I felt peace, not the quiet kind that hides pain. Seven, but the earned kind that only truth can bring. There's a certain silence that lingers after the storm. Not the empty kind. No. This one hums with something sacred, something alive. It's the sound of truth settling into the spaces it was once shut out from. It's the soft exhale of justice after holding her breath for too damn long. For days, the air in the office felt different. People moved slower. Voices softened. The laughter that once filled the halls now carried a hint of nervousness, like everyone was suddenly aware of the weight of their own words. And me. I walked through those glass doors with my head high, my rhythm steady. Not out of pride, but peace. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't fighting to be seen. I was just being. They'd whisper when I passed. You could hear fragments. That's her. Sevens. She's the one who exposed them. Sevens. Some said it with respect. Some with fear. But underneath it all was something new. Acknowledgement. I used to think vindication came with applause. Turns out, it comes with quiet. The quiet you earn when the truth speaks for itself. That weekend, I stayed home. No phone, no email, no Zoom. Just me, my coffee, and the hum of my own thoughts. I replayed everything, the betrayals, the courage, the moment I hit send. Sevens. And somewhere between memory and forgiveness, I realized something. Sevens. Every fight I ever had to endure in that office. 7. Every meeting where my voice was talked over. 7. Every idea I had to repeat 3 times to be heard. 7s. Every smile I forced while my work wore someone else's name tag. 7s. All of it was training. Not for revenge, but for clarity. I learned how to observe, how to hold my power quietly, like a steady flame, how to wait for the right moment, not out of fear, but precision. Because sometimes the strongest thing you can do is pause, I thought about my mother then, how she worked nights, typing reports for people who never learned her name, how she told me, "Don't just survive the room, baby, redecorate it." Sevens. And I finally understood what she meant. Revenge changes the people in the room. Integrity changes the room itself. And the next week, Sevens, when the CEO called me in to discuss leadership opportunities. Sevens, I didn't go in looking for payback. I went in holding something far more powerful: composure. They wanted me to talk about what happened. I did, but not the way they expected. I didn't name names. I talked about culture, about equity, about what happens when silence is mistaken for consent. I told them, Sevens, accountability isn't an attack. It's a form of care. When you protect the truth, you protect the people who build it. They listened. For once, they really listened. And as I spoke, I could feel something shift, not just in that room, but in myself. The fear was gone. The need to prove myself was gone. All that was left was purpose. Weeks turned into months. Policies changed. The HR director resigned. Andrew, well, he disappeared from the org chart like a ghost nobody missed. And me? I was asked to lead a new initiative on workplace transparency. Funny, right? The same system that tried to erase me now needed me to rebuild it. But I didn't say yes for them. I said yes for every Black woman who ever sat in a meeting, watching her brilliance get repackaged with someone else's voice. For every intern who learned to smile through condescension. For every young coder who was told she's too ambitious. Because the truth is, we've been building from the shadows for generations. We've been architects of success stories that never carried our names. But now, the spotlight's shifting, and I plan to make sure it stays on what matters, not ego, not noise, but truth. You see, truth isn't loud. It's consistent. It shows up every day, even when no one's watching. It's in the details, the clean lines of a finished code, the careful word in an email, the courage in restraint. And justice isn't a scene. It's a system you rebuild, line by line, until it works the way it should have all along. Sometimes I walk past the conference room where it all began, the one where they forgot to mute themselves. The blinds catch the morning light just right, and I can see my reflection in the glass. And I think, maybe this is what evolution looks like. Not loud, not flashy, just real. When I mentor young women now, I tell them, Sevens, don't waste your fire proving you're worthy. You already are. Use that fire to build things that last. Sevens, because strength without grace can burn you up. But strength with purpose, that's unstoppable. So yes, they erased my name once, but I rewrote it in every line of code that still runs their system. I didn't destroy the company. I refined it. And maybe that's the quietest kind of revolution. Seventh, the one that doesn't need destruction to prove it's real. Now, when I sit alone in that same office, watching the city light flicker against the window, Sevens, I don't think about the betrayal anymore. I think about legacy, about all the women who'll come after me, who'll never have to choose between being brilliant and being safe. That's the work. That's the win. And in that quiet, Sevens, the hum of the monitors, the soft buzz of the lights, Heavens, the faint rhythm of my own heartbeat. 7th, I can hear it. The sound of truth breathing. Steady, strong, unapologetic. That's what freedom sounds like. That's what I sound like. My name is Janelle Brooks, and I'm done being muted. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this story. If it spoke to you, hit subscribe and stay tuned for more stories that heal, inspire, and remind us who we are.